G'day everyone, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we take a look back in history of all the cars I've owned, including muscle, JDM, Euro, back to muscle. Let's get there. Guts. Alright, so let's kick it off to where it all began. 1996 when I got my first job. So I bought my first muscle car. So I bought an LX SS Torana hatchback, a bit of an A9X replica in metallic blue. And this thing was my first foray into modified cars. I built a 308 motor for it, Pulsar race engines, same spec as a bit of a sprint car that he was building. You know, had all the fruit, had a 5-speed Supra, did a Ford 9-inch diff conversion after I blew up two banjo diffs, and this thing was the duck's guts, this thing, 400 horsepower, and for those of you that lived in Canberra at the time, you would have seen that in Braddon, going up and down, part of the local car scene, and that was a heap of fun. So that was my first car, it was a muscle car, and that sort of got me into the V8 spirit and where we are today, and unfortunately I think I've got another video on this channel where I've talked about the history of that car, and it's written off after I sold it when I moved to Sydney, and that car is probably in a crusher somewhere. Bit of a sad end, but that was my first car. So then I moved to Sydney and I had to get something that was a bit more economical, and unfortunately I had to buy a 4-cylinder. So I went and walked all down Parramatta Road, and I was looking for a Nissan Pulsar SS because I was a bit enamoured with the SR20 engine. Have a listen to this video. Now my SR20 didn't sound anything like that. But anyway, it was a 2-litre, normally aspirated, twin-cam Nissan motor. And because I couldn't stretch the extra dollars to the SS, I got the Pulsar Q, which had an option. It either had a 1600 or it had the 2-litre. And I put like 200,000 kilometres on that thing. That thing copped the hiding. Driving all around Sydney, back and forth from Canberra. That was a lot of fun. I think I ended up selling that car with 350,000 kilometres on the clock. And it had a set of Oscar rims on it, but I didn't do that many other mods to it actually because it was just a bit of a daily driver, so that was number 2. So then Mr. Fred met Mrs. Fred and things had to get a bit more sedate and a bit more family oriented, so I bought my first family focused car, which was always wanted a Subaru after seeing Colin McRae race around as a young kid, so I couldn't get the WRX obviously, with a young Fred Jr. along on the way, so I ended up getting a Forrester. Little silver version, had the 2-litre turbocharged motor in it, so a bit of JDM action there after the Nissan got the bug. Again, didn't do many mods to that thing. It was just a stock car, daily driver. It was a lot of fun, but I tell you what, it used to scull fuel. It had a tiny, almost like a 40 or a 50-litre tank in it. We would get 320 kilometres per tank in that thing, and that was, because Fred was probably rightful planned as well, but the fuel economy on those engines was junk, so that soon had to go, and then we had to make way for Fred Jr. So when family life comes along, you've got to sort of go in lockstep with that too. So we started off with the Euros and the SUV, so we had 2 or 3 X3s, and then Mrs. Fred got an X1, and then our final sort of foray into the Euro camp has been the latest Euro that you've seen in the stable, which is an Audi S5. But they're all Mrs. Fred's cars, they're not Mr. Fred's. But they're pretty cool. The Audi particularly is seriously capable, and I'm gasping at the bit to take that to Wakefield and have some fun in that. So along the way I had to get a few tow vehicles and also vehicles for the farm as well. So you've seen my blue Hilux that I've got, that came sort of most recently, but before that I had an FJ Cruiser. That was a pretty serious bit of kit too, a bit of off-roading and on the farm. Only comes out with an automatic transmission and doesn't come out with a diesel either, so 2 of those were negatives on it as well. But I bought that black FJ Cruiser and I think I put close to 160,000 kilometres on that before I sold it, but that was still pretty cool. But I've still got my blue Hilux, and that tows my little go-kart round, and also be a great tow car for the race cars as well. So 2015 rocks around and Fred decides to go get himself one of the last Commodores ever. So I managed to get the VF SSV Redline, which is affectionately known as Clooney, as our race car here on the channel. You've seen a lot about this car, but probably what you don't know is that I actually put 100,000 kilometres on the original L77 engine. And I put a supercharger on that after about 10,000, but that was my daily driver for about 3 years until I decided to take it off the road and go serious with it. And it is where it is now. So yeah, but it started off humble beginnings as Fred's daily driver. And then we've had a few, opportunistic purchases along the way too. So our VE NASCAR as well. So that's come along. That's a Ute. We've also then got Fred Jr.'s car, but I can't really call that my own, which is the Getz track car, and that come along. And then my most recent daily driver is the black Type-R. And the reason I got this was I wasn't sure what was coming with the latest model Type-Rs, and I didn't want to be stuck on a limb waiting for this new model to come out and then not like the new model. There were rumours of the new Type-R being a hybrid as well, and I didn't really want one of them. So I also wanted to get this body shape and style too, and whilst it may not be everyone's cup of tea, it seriously is mine, and I'm just in love with this engine as well. This serious 2-litre K-Series turbocharged motor that Honda pump out. Formula 1 technology in this thing. Hopefully it makes me go a little bit like a Formula 1 driver as well. And this thing will definitely be going to Wakefield. We'll just have to wait and see. Alright, a bit of a history tour here on Clooney Garage. I haven't mentioned my big truck here that I'm restoring because that's not really a car either. So that doesn't count. But yeah, I'm not too sure if you would have noticed all the other cars and the journey we've gone on, from muscle in my early days to JDM to Euro, now back to muscle. So hope you enjoyed it. More videos still to come. Catch you later.